Diddy's children are no longer present at his bail hearings, and the cases against them for raping minors are getting more serious.
Omar K. alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022.
And raped me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him.
And once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
Christian Combs, Diddy's son, was recently named as a co-conspirator in the Diddy case. The apples seem to have fallen close to the tree.
There are also allegations that Diddy forced these victims to have sex with prostitutes as he touched himself. He called these situations freak-offs, and oftentimes he recorded them. Here's where some of the allegations against his son Justin Combs come in. So all this takes us back to February, when Rodney Jones, also known as the producer Lil Rod, filed civil suit against Diddy. In his lengthy lawsuit, Lil Rod straight name drops Justin Combs, describing him as someone who solicits prostitutes, underage girls, and sex workers. There's actually a picture of Justin Combs with an allegedly underage girl shown in the lawsuit. Now, in this specific instance, Lil Rod alleges at least one underage girl came to Diddy's home for a listening party. A sex worker was also apparently solicited, and a freak-off ensued. As an aside, this is the same night that Lil Rod alleges Diddy forced him to take a laced shot. He started to feel lightheaded and then woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, naked next to a sex worker. It's important to note Justin Combs is listed as a defendant on this case because, according to Lil Rod, he facilitated Diddy's alleged RICO enterprise and at times participated. Civil suit points to more accusations against Justin Combs too, for his involvement in an alleged shooting cover-up. According to court documents, it happened on September 12, 2022, outside Diddy's Chalice Studios. Lil Rod says Diddy, his son Justin, and Justin's friend who went by G were all there when things got heated. Lil Rod says he heard multiple gunshots ring out and later found G on the bathroom floor in the fetal position. Lil Rod says he was bleeding out of his hip and leg area. Lil Rod says he was applying pressure to G's wounds and then asked the crowd to call an ambulance. At that point, both Diddy and Justin Combs disappeared to another part of the studio. Diddy then gave strict instructions to inform the police that he had nothing to do with the shooting. He also forced Mr. Jones to lie to the police by telling them that G was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. So that specific allegation involves Diddy's son Justin, but another allegation and entirely separate civil lawsuit involves his other son Christian, or King Combs. Grace Omar K. alleges that Christian Combs sexually assaulted her on a yacht in December 2022, and she says it was facilitated.
Diddy's recent bail hearing was attended only by two of his kids, King Combs and Christian, who are listed in the case against Diddy. Allegedly, in an effort to disassociate themselves from their father, Diddy's other 7 children did not even bother to go. In addition to the startling abuse allegations, there are also reports that Diddy was trying to groom his stepson. The fact that Diddy's stepson, who was reportedly implicated in child abuse with his father, attended his stepson with his father.
Because this time around, Diddy was brought in first. He was brought in about a couple minutes after 2 p.m. today, and we were all kind of waiting to see. We had heard mumblings that his mom might be in courtroom, that we were waiting for the children, but then nothing happened. But then, in another twist and turn, the children do walk in, but this time it was a lot smaller bunch than it was the last time. So last time you were having all of Diddy's children, except with the exception of Love, who is just a 2-year-old child, so she wasn't at court, but you had all of Diddy's children there except Love. But this time around, you just had Justin Combs and Christian Combs, meaning that there was no Quincy there today. Delilah and Jesse weren't there. Chance wasn't there. And the caretakers of his younger children who aren't of age just yet, they were not present inside the courtroom as well today. But his mom also wasn't in court today. So when Diddy came inside, it was still that standard issued MDC jumpsuit. He's wearing khaki. From that video of, I think that was obtained by Daily Mail back in September, of Diddy playing hacky sack in Central Park, to now he appeared just astonishingly thinner, which you can expect to be inside a federal detention center for a couple months now. A lot different from the luxury lifestyle that he was living before, but he appeared very noticeably thin.
A fascinating lawsuit has been filed by Diddy's son against Courtney Burgess, a friend of Diddy's ex-wife Kim Porter, for allegedly releasing freak-off videos that supposedly depict Diddy having sex with minors. The money Courtney may make from publishing their mother's memoir, which is purportedly in FBI custody along with 8 freak-off tapes, is the only thing Diddy's boys are interested in.
He owns the rights to a book that was reportedly based on the alleged memoir of Kim Porter. In fact, according to TMZ, Burgess' phone was seized by the feds, and on it was a copy of a flash drive with material that was used in this book. Here's the problem. Christian and Quincy Combs, these are the sons of Diddy and Kim Porter. Quincy's actually adopted by Diddy. But they are reportedly fighting back, and they have sent Burgess a cease and desist letter to prevent the further sale of this book. They argue this is just an attempt to capitalize on Porter's fame and that they own the rights to her IP, her intellectual property, like her diary entries or potential manuscript. As her heirs, they own it. And they also want an accounting of current sales of the book. To be clear, though, they aren't acknowledging that there is, in fact, a long-lost memoir from their mother. In fact, they've actually denied that before when there was a similar book, a derivative work, we'll talk about that, published by this guy named Chris Todd on Amazon. They were adamantly fighting against that. They said that their mother wouldn't write this. But what they're basically saying is if something should exist.
Courtney Burgess described the details of the freak-off videos that Kim Porter sent him in a recent interview with News Nation. The videos reportedly show many celebrities abusing Diddy's Mo. The victims seem to be children and were under the influence of drugs. Since Diddy's stepson was spotted at his odd parties, it's safe to presume that Diddy's children were present, even if it's unclear at this point.
Statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if
Appeared
they
to be.
were. Right.
Sure.
Appeared to
Let
be.
me rephrase
right.
it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appeared to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were all 8 were victimized,
Yeah,
meaning
victim.
this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Industry insiders long felt that Diddy and his stepson were having an unusual relationship. According to Freddie P., an artist who worked closely with Diddy in his early days and was supposedly blackballed by him. Lawsuits now allege that Diddy raped minors while his son was there, and he allegedly saw odd conduct between Diddy and his son Christian.
Man, freaky man. I look at his kids and everything. It's more deeper questions that I be wanting to know. Like, why were you so infatuated with a child that wasn't yours? Were you grooming that little boy? I don't even want to start those conversations because that's not your child. You know what I'm saying? And for you to keep him that close, it's like you kept him that close because he might got your secrets because he's not your child. So if he's not your child and you that type of person with that type of character, you don't mind actually doing it to him when he finally reaches a certain age because he's not yours. And you know in your mind he's not yours. And now you keep him real close to you. You make sure he don't go to his daddy. Why? You make sure he's separated with him and you provide him with everything he wants. Why? You got one of them little Michael Jackson secrets? he got one of them secrets that he can't tell nobody because his legacy, I mean, his manhood gonna be, and not only that, his brother no gonna look at him crazy. Only Puffy know, only God and Puffy. Right? I don't know. All I'm gonna say is, I don't know.
I'll be sure to.
All I'm gonna say is, who's infatuated with another man's son now, like that? Like you, that's.
The victim who is suing Diddy has also agreed to an exclusive interview with NBC. The victim, a 38-year-old Alabama woman with autism, alleges that Diddy drugged her before getting married to Jay-Z after she passed out. She says she was scared of what Diddy and Jay-Z would do to her if she spoke up. And she has identified other celebrities in the case. According to the lady, Diddy married her and Jay-Z during a celebration held in New York City following the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards.
You should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver, who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper, because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him, and he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the.
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, "I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but that's something that would definitely stick in my mind," he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said that she stands by her statements. "I have made some mistakes," she said. "Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me." The inconsistencies in her account of an incident alleged to have happened 24 years ago does not necessarily mean the allegations are false. The accuser's attorney, Tony Busby, said, "Because we have interrogated her intensely, she has even agreed to submit to a polygraph. This has been extremely distressing for her, to the point she has experienced seizures and had to seek medical treatment due to the stress." In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory.
Is any part of you scared coming out against such powerful people?
Yeah, I'm scared of what could happen, but I'm more afraid of letting it eat me alive from the inside out than I am of, being chastised by their fans.
All right, Chloe Malas joining us now live. Chloe, we just heard a very strongly worded statement from Jay-Z. What else are you hearing from him and his team?
Yes, so his attorney said that they're going to ask the court to, quote, dismiss this frivolous case. And also moments ago, we heard from Diddy's legal team, and I want to read you some of what they said. They said, quote, this is the beginning of the end of this shameful money grab. And remember, he remains behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, and his criminal trial begins in May.
All right, very thorough reporting there. Chloe, thank you so much for that.
A male victim also disclosed the abuse he suffered at the hands of Diddy in an exclusive interview with CNN a few weeks ago. The guy said that Diddy really assaulted him after providing him alcoholic beverages that were laced with drugs.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful. And he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was abusive beyond belief.
An accuser speaking out about the alleged abuse he endured from Sean Diddy Combs for the first time. The anonymous John Doe sitting down with CNN in his home to share his experience, which he says happened at one of the music producer's infamous white parties in 2007.
According to your lawsuit, you were hired by a security firm to work security at one of the infamous white parties that was thrown by Sean Combs in the Hamptons. What was that experience like?
At first, he was incredibly friendly, very gracious.
It was something just to get everybody like on the same level. And it was a way for me to get like, my friends from Harlem to meet like some of the socialites from, the Hamptons, and just realize that it doesn't matter what economic bracket we're from or status we're from. We're all, we're all people.
John Doe first filed his complaint against Diddy on October 14th. In the lawsuit, he alleges he was drugged and sodomized by the media mogul at the party. Diddy maintains his innocence.
Once I was in a helpless position and he was sure that he was in a position of power, then he took advantage of the situation.
You allege that you were forcibly pushed into an SUV by Sean Combs.
I was screaming. I was telling him to stop. It was incredibly painful, and he was acting like it was nothing. And he seemed to be disconnected from it. But it was abusive beyond belief.
Another of Diddy's alleged victims. Additionally, Thalia Graves came forward on September 24, 2024. She accused Diddy and his ex-bodyguard Joseph Sherman of drugging and sexually assaulting her in 2001 in a Bad Boy record studio in New York City, and she filed a federal lawsuit against them. This time, Diddy instructed his guard to tear her as well, but her statement follows the same pattern that the other victims have accused Diddy of.
The latest woman to speak out against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is from Harris County.
Yeah, our Reka Mudaraj is here with more on the lawsuit that was filed yesterday. Reka?
Mia, these are the latest accusations against Sean Combs, and it comes about a week after Combs was indicted on federal charges alleging he used his business empire as a criminal enterprise. Now, yesterday, high-powered attorney Gloria Allred appeared with her client. This is Thalia Graves, a Harris County resident who filed a lawsuit against Combs in New York. We are using her name because she has gone public with her claims. Now, in the lawsuit, Graves alleges back in 2001, when she was 25 years old, Combs and his head of security lured her into a meeting at a New York City recording studio where they gave her a drink that caused her to briefly lose consciousness. When she woke up, Graves says she was bound and restrained and was violently raped by Combs. The lawsuit filed Tuesday also claims the alleged assault was recorded and that the video was shown to multiple other men. Graves says she also faced multiple threats that made her stay silent for decades.
The violation I have experienced during the assault has had lasting effects on my body, causing ongoing health problems and complications. The combination of physical and emotional pain has created a cycle of suffering from which it is so hard to break free. I want to continue on this journey towards recovery and healing. I'm glad that he is locked up, but that's a temporary feeling of relief.
54-year-old Combs is in jail facing federal charges, including sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He was denied bail twice after pleading not.
Diddy was accused of sexually assaulting children younger than his own. Thus, it makes perfect sense that his family is trying to put him out of their lives. It is hard to imagine the pain Diddy's family will go through if the charges against him turn out to be true. According to reports, Jay-Z and Beyoncé were also at the gathering when the assault took place, and they helped Diddy cover it up in addition to partially anticipating it.
Say about Jay-Z, the artist, the businessman. Well, the complaint begins. Defendant Sean Combs, along with his longtime friend and collaborator, Sean Carter, drugged and raped a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards. Another celebrity stood by and watched as Combs and Carter took turns assaulting the minor. Many others were present at the after-party but did nothing to stop the assault. Combs had been allowed for years to conduct himself in this manner without any consequences. He believes he is above the law. He is not. His close friend Sean Carter has been with Combs during many such instances described herein. Both perpetrators must face justice. So that seems to suggest that Sean Carter, Jay-Z, was not only present or participated in this alleged, but essentially a crime, but for other instances. And that's really interesting. That's why I bring up this idea of, could he be hit with more lawsuits if you take these allegations as true? Now, the complaint goes on to say, Combs and Carter were not simply occasional collaborators in the music industry. The two men developed a close friendship that has been well documented from the late 1990s to the present. Together, they attended countless music industry events, events for each other's business ventures, parties, and after parties. Indeed, the two are apparently so close that Combs stated in 2023 that Carter is the only person, other than Combs' mother, who is allowed to call him by his legal first name of Sean. In 2000, near the height of their fame, power, and influence, Combs and Carter attended the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. Afterwards, Combs hosted an after-party for many of the most famous celebrities in the music and entertainment industries, including Carter, which is where the events alleged in this complaint occurred. I should also say that Busby also used this complaint to address an alleged harassment campaign that he claims Jay-Z started after Busby reached out about his involvement in the suit. The complaint reads, Carter was identified in plaintiff's original complaint as Celebrity A. Prior to the filing of this amended complaint, Carter received a letter from plaintiff's counsel requesting a mediation to resolve this matter. Upon present information and belief, Jay-Z responded to said letter by not only filing an utterly frivolous lawsuit, the one I mentioned before, but by also orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiff's lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff from naming Jay-Z herein. This effort was meant to scare plaintiff and to discredit her counsel. That effort failed. Indeed, plaintiff chose to file this amendment as a result of the egregious conduct perpetuated by
Guy and Deal has talked about the reasons why celebrities are trying to conceal what happened and keep quiet right now.
They came out defending Diddy. All these celebrity friends he have, and nobody came out.
They brand. It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not going to come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey, buddy, we got you on this tape. And girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.
Yeah, I mean, TD Jakes, he haven't even came out and said anything. And him and Diddy was real cool.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man. And I know the people in the congregation over there is shaking in their boots because this man then led them probably, allegedly probably led them to damnation because those people's hearts are going to be broken if that man is seen on those tapes doing anything. Because people always put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And what they need to do is understand that he's just a man. And he has a history. It's not looking too good for him.
So you feel like celebs are worried that they might be on tape?
Oh, they know. That's why they ain't speaking up or saying nothing. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form or fashion, you got that alcohol, you got the drugs in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you got to take your clothes off. He said that himself, bruh. So a lot of them, like what he said? I think a lot of them was being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They tell off on themselves all the time, man. You just gotta listen.
But why do you think Diddy had all them hidden cameras?
Bruh, when you that powerful, you didn't get that powerful without having 1 or 2 or maybe 3 ups on somebody. Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So had the ups on Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So he always played those kind of up games on people. So to have those cameras and know what he was doing is going to give him the ups on everybody who came to that party. Even your favorite basketball player. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. We know who said that. He may be one of the persons who got caught up in the Diddy party.
LeBron said that, but yeah, you might be right. You know, it sounds like he had all them hidden cameras to use it against people.
I think that was said in the indictment, right? That was said in the indictment. You know, somebody, I think Dawn may have said that. I don't know for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong. He would, even if you didn't want to do something, he would tell an individual, well, I got you on tape doing it before. And the person would feel pressured in having to do something or come and do something at the party or be at the party because he already had him on tape right then and there. But what you think when you do it the second time? He's still gonna have you on tape. Those tapes is the one who's killing, because people don't understand this. Little Rod, he's taping for Diddy in some occasions. When he wrote his indictment up, when he wrote his when his lawyer wrote up his briefs and submitted it, he must have had he must have been a prosecutor somewhere or something like that, because he wrote it up like it was an indictment. You understand? Saying all the stuff that had happened. Then people don't understand this. After he wrote it up and he had the tapes and everything, they sent that to the feds. The feds opened up a case on that. Everybody think it's happened. Oh, the feds looked at Cassie getting beaten, and then they just opened up a case. Nah. I think it was more so Lil Rob and them sending the feds that information. They put in a civil suit, then sent the other stuff over to the feds, and it read like an indictment. So they had to look at it because they see some crimes that was committed in that. And lo and behold, they do a raid on the house. So, to get back to your question, all the footage and everything that they have is going to either help, it's going to help them get some more people or get enough people just to hang Diddy.
Tony Busby, the lawyer who brought the lawsuit against Diddy, said in a recent interview with Piers Morgan that there are over 300 victims. Some of them are younger than 7. Police files and medical records back up the claims of all the victims coming forward, and Busby pledged to identify all those involved in the sex trafficking network.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names. And you might imagine in situations like this, that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case. Because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public. And, when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Real quickly before we close here, about some specific instances without disclosing the victim's name. You probably know that depending on the age of the victim, you can file these cases, these individual cases, under Jane Doe or John Doe. Each state is different in that respect. Typically, there is a balancing test, like the public's right to know the name of the victim and plaintiff versus the confidentiality and the safety of the plaintiff. So we'll have to struggle with that with each one of these cases. Our intention, of course, is to, like we always do, file these cases under a pseudonym until the court tells us otherwise. But let me share with you a few, just kind of give you a sense of the kind of cases and the kind of instances that people are calling and reporting that we are trying to corroborate, vet, and these are the ones that we've already corroborated, vetted, and collected evidence on. One individual who was 22 years at the time she was assaulted said that The typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you. And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO. Another instance, this individual who was 9 years old at the time was taken to an audition in New York City with Bad Boy Records. Other boys were there to audition as well. All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged, and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore. And I could go on. I mean, literally, you're sensing a theme here. It's the same theme, and it all involves some sort of drug. One instance, an individual who was 20 years old at the time was asked to attend, just saw her on the street, asked to attend a party in a hotel. She was flattered, went to the party, was given one drink and doesn't remember anything else. Ultimately, was so messed up, went to the hospital where they found cocaine and this horse tranquilizer in her blood system. I want to give you a quote from a very young man who told us over the phone about his experience and all the things that happened to him, he says, allegedly at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his friends in the effort to try to sign a record deal. This was kind of what he was told he would have to do. His quote is, "Had he not been in power, I feel like I could have been something great. I quit the industry because of what Sean Combs did to me." And that's really what it comes down to.
How do you feel about the horrifying accusations made against Diddy and the apparent silence of the celebrities involved? Do you believe that justice will be served at last? Kindly leave your remarks in the space provided below. The weight of these allegations is undeniable, as the lawsuits pile up and Diddy's own family starts to turn away.